Do you feel that salespeople in general, right, don't give themselves enough credit? Because you mentioned that, um, you got to learn, you got to go through that feedback loop, that feedback cycle, and continuously tell yourself, where did I go wrong? What needs to improve, or where have I been improving? So that part, right, it's something like, I feel that it's not so strong in many of us. And what can we do, right, actively to be able to help us improve in that sense mentally, so that we know that, okay, I really have improved in this area, to give myself credit where credit is due.
Okay, so, well, if you to put it that way, we look at it from two angles. Yeah.
Mm.
The first angle is, yeah, that feedback loop, right? I get a rejection. I know what kind of questions to ask myself about where I've gone wrong. I know how to, pen it down into notes. I know how to reflect on it, right? Even all of these things require a skill set. People always say, look on the bright side, right? Keep on learning from your failures, right? Learning from your failures. The question is, how do you learn from your failures, right? How
Mm.
do you learn from it, right? What questions do you ask when you have a failure, right? So it's not just learning from your failures. It's not just, making notes on what you've gone through. It's what type of notes are you looking for? Now, so this feedback loop, right? So when this feedback loop happens, okay, it's very easy to tell salespeople, yeah, keep on doing that feedback. But you must understand that the salesperson is in a sales career in the greater part of their life. Okay. So the external pressures beyond their sales career, okay, is something that we realize has affected many people. Now, I'll give you an example. If, let's say, for example, there's a person who's a salesman in a company, and what happens very simply is this, okay? He has a family to feed, all right? He knows about the feedback loop. He knows he must keep on going, right? But what happens very simply is that as he's going through the feedback loop, he's not earning. And when he doesn't earn, he starts to feel the pressure of paying the bills, putting food on the table, getting kids to school, right? And for some salespeople, they don't have basic salaries. They're purely on commission.
Mm.
Now, all of these external pressures sit on them too. So while they are doing their best to do the feedback loop, and wanting to keep on going, these external pressures sometimes make them lose track of that feedback loop. And they spend more time worrying. They spend more time in anxiety, right? And that's when, the motivation is being bitten off. Because if they were just only in a feedback loop and there are no other pressures around them, it's going to be a lot easier for them. So that is why, like I said, there's a very wide and in-depth approach to it. So we don't just, want to train people on just, the feedback loop, but we always help salespeople to understand where they stand in the greater part of their life and how the sales career needs to feed energy into the other parts of their life, and how the other parts of their life, the same problems that they're facing, there's also another feedback loop around them. Because we need to create a wholesome person as a salesperson, not just a really great salesperson. We want to focus on all of that. So if you ask me, do we salespeople give ourselves enough credit? I'll be honest with you, we want to, right? We all want to, but we don't know how to. Because the sales industry is one where it's always about results, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. You
It's
walk
revenue
into any,
driven.
it's revenue driven. You walk into any organization and you will probably see a plaque on the wall, right? Highest revenue for the month, right? Top salesperson, top producer, top this, top that. And it's always based on what? Numbers. It's always based on revenue. So salespeople find it very difficult to give themselves credit for their progress, for how they're building, because in the sales world, it's all about numbers. I've yet to see an organization, right, that has a plaque on the wall that says top effort, right? That means the managers came together and say, you know something? He is not the top producer, but my gosh, he puts in so much effort, right? I've not seen, top gung-ho, something like that. So I've not seen effort right? I've not seen effort being rewarded. And in the sales industry, it's all about numbers. So yes, do I feel that we need to give ourselves a lot more credit? Yes. Question here is this. Again, it's all about the how, right? Salespeople, they only celebrate and clap their hands. They ring the bell in the office the very moment that a deal comes in, right? But they don't look at the small successes. Like today, I'm a better salesperson than I was yesterday. Let me celebrate that a bit, right? So that's, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that you brought that up because that's something that we also focus with them. Where we talk about sales goals, right? We always tell the salespeople, celebrate your growth, not only your numbers.
Yeah.
A lot
Not the
of them are
wins, the growth.
the growth, right? And celebrate the small deals, not only just the big ones.
Right.
And that is why I say that salespeople need to also work with their organization. Because even if I train the entire sales floor to celebrate their growth, to celebrate the small deals versus the big deals also, management might not agree. Management might all be about revenue, right?
Yeah.
Clap hands when it's revenue. So that's why we always work top down, down up. We tell management, you need to celebrate growth. You need to tell your staff, I saw you working really hard yesterday. How did it go? It went terrible. The client said, no. Fantastic. What did you learn? Ta, 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 ta. Great, you've grown. And then walk away. You see, motivation can be external and it can be internal. Acknowledgement, internal, external. It's a system. It's an ecosystem. No salesperson is an island. Yep. Organizations and salespeople need to come together to build that culture where giving credit is not only based on numbers. I'm sorry, I'm really passionate about this part because I've seen so many salespeople suffer because they just don't know how to manage their careers. And it's painful. I mean, sales is a rewarding career. It's a really rewarding career, right? But when it's so numbers driven and you only learn to smile when you have your numbers, it's a painful career, Yeah.
Yep, it is because you're only judged exactly what you said. You're judged by your numbers. The scariest thing in that whole conversation, right, with senior management, it's always, look, our numbers from week on week, we've grown X number of thousand. Then instead of saying, yeah, good, we're making progress, we're seeing growth, right? We're appreciating the effort. It becomes like, this 1,000 only, it always feels like you're never good enough. It's never enough, right? Only one in that few hundred, right, will become that top salesperson, right? Fact is, that's the fact, right? Not everybody in insurance is $1 million round table. Not everybody in sales is going to be the top performer of the month or the year, or even get that, 6 times bonus or whatever it is that the company is able to do. But many a times, right, if looking at the organization in itself, if that doesn't change, salespeople will continue to be very unmotivated, and they will continue to also want to shift to another place that can give them either more money or resources, right? Something better for their CV, or essentially it's just something that they can take home at the end of the day. But it won't be something that I will be loyal to the company or I will be motivated to stay with this company. It will just end up pushing people away.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And while we are also focused on the fact that the organization in itself plays a very big role, not just to provide a training budget to give them, upgrading of skills, but to really look at the internal culture of the firm itself. Salespeople themselves also need to play their part, right?
Yeah.
Because I just want to pick up on what you just said. You mentioned that, so salespeople, the moment they don't hit their revenue targets, they say, I'm going to go to a different company, right? They want to find a better product, right? A more established company, right? A company that has got larger market share, right? Or higher market potential, right? So what happens very simply is that they go there.
But the
and
cycle still follows again.
It's still the same.
Same cycle,
because
same shit, different day.
Salespeople are always looking for the perfect product, the perfect price, the perfect market. And sadly enough, I'm the bearer of bad news. It doesn't exist. How many times have you seen inferior quality products priced exorbitantly, selling really well, when a great quality product priced competitively, not selling at all, right? So people are always searching for that perfect product, perfect price, perfect market. Doesn't exist. A great salesperson, right? This is a very old saying that I have, right? A great salesperson can sell ice to an Eskimo, right? Someone once asked me, what about selling, something that is really bad in quality, but very high in price? Can it be sold? Yes.
Can.
Whether you want to sell it because of your own
ethics.
of your
This
own
is a
ethics,
question of your ethics.
that's another thing. Yeah. But can it be done? It can be done. So, salespeople need to realize that jumping from company to company, which I've seen a lot, right? I do a lot of trainings in certain industries. I'm not going to mention which ones they are because it's quite sensitive. But I see some of them saying, oh yeah, Leroy, in the last 5 years, I've changed 3 companies. And I always ask them why. And they always tell me, well, it's because I want to go and find myself a better company. I say, what do you mean by a better company? What are you looking for in a better company? Oh, better support, better products, better price. And I said, have you found it yet? Nope. What are you going to do? Find it. And I told him, I said, my friend, brother, you will not be able to do this, right? And then I would share with them strategies on how do you know when it's really the wrong company, right?
Yeah.
And then many of them realize that in actual fact, they're not in a wrong company. They just have a very wrong approach to the company. So if you look at this, it's not a one-sided thing. Organization plays its part. Salespeople play their part. But if they play their parts independently, there's a lack of communication between both parties. And when both parties do not communicate, they might be playing their part by going in absolutely different directions.
Yep.
And that's why a lot of times you see in some companies exodus of sales staff, or they move from one place to another place as a whole group. Because there's this lack of communication as everybody is doing their best to play their part. So what we love to do, right, is to help them to improve their skills here. But we also work on that connection with them, right? And when you integrate these two things together, that's when you see a vehicle as one moving forward.